This is the Mooncast.
Yo, welcome to the Mooncast. I'm here again with Barry Bradshaw, aka No, and I'm the Moon Boy. So, guys, we're gonna start and talk about racism a little bit. And Barry, you can go ahead and just continue on because we we was already talking about it a little bit with Colin Kaepernick, and just basically how it is in the States versus how it is in Germany. You could talk a little bit about that too, in terms of racism and stuff like that, and stuff maybe you've experienced or that you have friends that have experienced. For those who don't know, well, Barry, you can tell them a little bit about your ethnic background because I don't think they know, the audience knows, so you can tell them a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my father's African American, my mother's Caucasian, and I have two a brother and a sister. They're a lot darker than I am. I'm more of a lighter complexion, and I've grown up. I've seen the difference how they were treated and how I was treated. I was accepted amongst the Caucasian people. I was seen as a white person, and my brothers and sisters, they had mostly black friends. So my path took an entire different path than their path has taken, which proves racism, clear racism. So I don't want to say I'm fortunate to be more of a lighter complexion, but I witnessed it obviously firsthand, and I got to honestly say most of my partners were also Caucasian. The girls were Caucasian, and So and like I said, my brother and sisters partners were not many of them. Only if any at all were Caucasian. So
can you I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to ask, like, can you speak to a little bit how it is in terms of dating? Like, did you notice a clear difference with your brothers that were a little bit darker? Or in terms of what was said because they assumed that you were Caucasian? You know, like, did you ever have experiences where certain things would be said that were a little bit messed up? And because they assumed that you were just Caucasian?
There was nothing really directly ever said.
Yeah.
But it was just you just felt it.
Yeah.
And just like I said with the girls, you know, that girls, like I said, white girls, I would get in easier conversations, and white girls were more interested in me than they were in my brother. So yeah, and it was funny because all of the let's say the Latino, Hispanic, the other races, you know, and girls, they were more interested into my brother than into me. And I love, you know, obviously Latino, you know, and Hispanic girls for obvious reasons. Right? So that was one side that I didn't like too much. But hey, like you said, I've never witnessed any clear anything that was said directly, you know, to us. So it's done in a real fake way, you know, and like backstabbing way. That's how it's done. You know, you just like, for example, applying for the same job again. I got the best example, man. Actually, when because I was a contractor in Kuwait, my brother as well, and the same jobs we applied for, I would get the jobs, and my brother wouldn't. So. That was very interesting. Yeah. So
Do you use? This is I never actually asked you because actually I never used the word around you. But do you use the N-word?
Actually, I use it a lot, but I use it with my white friends, actually. You know. But we call us that. You know, we just call us that, and. So we don't have too many black friends in Germany, but if there were some, I mean, the Germans that are black, they're not really black. You know what I mean? They don't bring the whole pride thing into it and the history as African Americans do. So but yeah, we use it a lot, and we use it too much. You know, joking around and you know. It takes a little bit of the seriousness out of it, even though we totally respect everything that goes with it, comes with it. Actually, absolutely. But the
Yeah.
word has a different meaning for us. It's just we, like I said, we joke around with it. And there's so many
Yeah.
rap songs, that
Hmm.
that we just make fun of and just joke. Actually, that's where
Yeah.
it comes from.
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
and,
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say that like would you say that basically like in terms of making friendships and stuff like that, did they once they found out that you were black, did they expect you to act a certain way or
they
to
never really found out. And I got another really interesting story.
Yeah.
When I was working as a bouncer at a at
Yeah.
a uh, at a German nightclub, I was
Yeah.
recruited by the Banditos and the Hells Angels.
That's
And
crazy.
yeah, and I was a little bit bigger back then, and yeah, so they approached me a few times, and there's a clear rule that there are not any black, African American allowed into the Hells Angels, and they couldn't even see. They didn't know. They
Yeah.
couldn't see
Yeah.
that. So I didn't make a secret out of it, but I just never. If they would have, I mean, I never thought about it. Actually found out about it later.
Yeah.
But I don't, you don't go around telling where your parents come from. It's
Yeah,
just
of course.
so. But yeah, that was interesting. If I would have actually joined them, and they would have found that my father was black, I would have, I would have.
Yeah.
I'd be interesting how they would have reacted.
No, that's crazy because I actually was listening to this one podcast and this guy was talking about this situation. I can't remember what podcast it was, but he was talking about a situation where I think he was in Hungary and the girl was talking about she hated black people, just period, right?
Mhm.
And he kind of had a similar aesthetic to you in terms of like you couldn't tell until like unless he told, And so she was going in on black people the entire dinner, and he was just like. And he was just like, And then he went back, he took her back to the hotel, whatever, smashed. And
Yeah.
after that, he told her that he was black. And then she just didn't want to believe it. Then he showed like pictures of like his dad and his dad being black. And yeah, I find it so funny, the entire concept of racism,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
quite interesting, because it sucks a lot of times. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, for instance, I've had I had a buddy now that he came to me. He needed, he was trying to close his 7-figure deal, whatever, and he needed a loan, man. And the bank wouldn't give him a loan, even though he had proven cash flow, right? And he had really good credit, So you have these type of situations where mortgage, it's a little bit harder maybe to get a mortgage or something like that. I've experienced some stuff, that's, obviously you experience like more tinier things, like a grocery store, they think you're stealing,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah, stuff like that. I've been almost framed by a cop before to they almost sent me to jail.
Mhm.
But yeah, this idea of racism, I just never really because my parents, they taught me how they taught me like not to see color, like
Mhm.
just to see humans, because they actually don't like a lot of the people. Because for those who don't know, my ethnic background is like Nigerian, and they don't like the people back home in Nigeria at all. You know what I mean? So there's like they don't trust people that aren't genuine. They don't care what color they are. They just
Mhm.
don't like ungenuine, like people that are disingenuous,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, man, yeah, it's kind of crazy, But in Germany, you experience it a lot less. I would say that for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just gonna agree.
Yeah.
Carry
Yeah,
on.
because in Germany, I've had a couple like people that one time I was at a festival and I was with my ex at the time, and there was a German dude that like kept trying to talk to my ex. I didn't know because I was like about 1.5 meters away from my ex talking with some friends, and it was a big festival, so it was a lot of people there, obviously. And she just came and poked me and just said like him, and this guy's eating a chicken like and trying to talk to her, and I'm like trying to tell him like, hey, you need to back away like calmly. And he was like, oh, you over here trying to take our girls, like you need to go back to Africa, blah blah blah, all this stuff, and yeah, you get these little situations, luckily my German friend like came and like grabbed him and like took care of the situation for me, so I didn't have to get my hands dirty. But yeah, you deal with a lot of really, really stupid people, man. Like it's crazy how ignorant a lot of people are, you know?
Yeah, it's also difficult one to decide to start using violence and whatnot. There's it's very interesting because people usually learn from pain, right? And that's how the world has always worked. Um, Unfortunately, right? There, of course, in Buddhism, Hinduism, and etc. They don't support they don't believe in violence. And I think without violence, it's also of course it's the right thing to do, but in this world it's difficult to avoid to completely avoid violence. Well, I only like using violence, defending myself, when I absolutely have to, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So but it's violence. Yeah, violence. It's really difficult.
Yeah, that let's change it. Let's talk a little bit. Let's change this topic real quick. Let's talk about Gen Z because so we don't get ourselves in trouble. But it's funny, man, because the conversations we have, like behind the scenes,
Yeah.
I wish people. That's why we need to start like a little, maybe like a Patreon or something like later, where we could talk a little bit more openly because we have to stop, recollect our
Yeah.
thoughts, and sort
Yeah.
of stop talking because
Yeah.
it's the internet after all,
The
right?
problem, the problem is that all the people that do speak about these things, they end up disappearing, or something happens to them, or they just live in danger, right? So,
Yeah, that's right.
and I think it's very very brave of what they're doing, and it takes people like that, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. I don't think that's not what we wanted to get into yet, right? Or
No,
not
no,
deep
no,
into
no,
yet.
no, no,
Yeah,
no. I don't want. I love everybody.
yeah,
Everybody's amazing. Peace, love, and positivity to everybody. Like I love all of you guys, right? So let's talk a little bit about Gen Z and why they're so lazy, right? So I'll give you an example. Um, my little brothers, right? Man, these guys are like, I don't get it, man. Like they have like but I would say this. I wouldn't try to package them because one of them is actually he's pretty disciplined, and stuff. But the other one, he's a little bit lazy, man. It's like when you have all the basic modern conveniences in society, and they have their own room with their own big screen TV, they both have separate game consoles, you know.
Mhm.
And I just noticed that when I was growing up, I would mow grass to go get money. I would like start my own little candy business where I would buy candy and then resell it at the school, to make money and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But they don't have this type of mindset to like grind to. They're just lazy, man. They're just lazy. They seem uninterested in discipline, in hard work. They just want everything easy, everything quick. What's wrong with them, man? Like,
Yeah, it's the way that the world has developed. Parents don't. They're not allowed to use violence again. Back to
yeah,
violence to
yeah,
raise their kids. I think it takes a certain amount of violence I don't even want to call it violence, but punishment,
yeah,
discipline. I want to call it discipline because
yeah,
my parents and the time they grew up, especially my mother, in German school, she was hit with a wooden stick on the backhand.
yeah,
That's how
yeah,
German schools. That's how they discipline kids, and they had some pretty tough discipline. That they would use. And my parents, especially my mother, but my mother, yeah, she would not talk back to her parents, when she was a kid, you know.
yeah,
And they had that respect, and they had the discipline to get educated, to get a job, to work towards things, right? And this is not here today anymore. These days, people are on kids are on their iPhones or on their phones, and the parents not really monitoring them, what they're doing, not raising them, and they just lack the complete. Yeah, it's just lost, man. And they don't,
yeah.
like I said, I see a lot of kids. They're very rude towards towards elders, right? And
Yes.
it's crazy. It's like if I would have
Yeah.
spoken to that to elders, to my parents, I would have had this shit slapped out of me, man. You
Yeah,
know?
same, man. Yeah, I noticed it with my parents. I don't know if it's parental fatigue or whatever, because it's six of us in total. And after the first two, me and my older brother, you just see like they just don't care anymore. Like my little brothers kind of talk to them how they want to. They don't help around in the house.
Yeah, yeah,
They're just a little bit. It's not just them too. They're just a little bit. They don't see they don't have any morals, any ethics. There's not anything behind them. There's no. It's almost like they're like fiat currency. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy, man. And their brains. I almost feel like every generation gets a little bit dumber. No, like I feel like our generation is not as
Exactly.
smart. Yeah,
Let me let me
yeah,
say, let me say something quick on that, because I was thinking a way to say it in the easiest way to understand. Uh, it has a lot to do with the brainwashing that the media is doing,
yeah,
and what the kids grow up watching on TV, and they're doing it on purpose, to influence, kids.
yeah,
And that's why you see how I have friends from the East, just going to say the East,
yeah,
and they get completely different information than Europe they do, so
yeah,
and yeah, so they their kids are raised by television these days, and by social media. And
mhm,
also social media has made many kids very, it makes them numb, to
mhm,
feelings, because they're so in their phones, and they don't interact with real people anymore,
yeah,
and I don't know, do you want to get started on a woman,
yeah,
women, how they get all their attention. They'll be with a I want to say they'll be with a good man.
yeah,
But once they start posting all these pictures on social media, they get so much attention,
yes,
and
yes,
they feel like they have so many options, and then they feel like, who the fuck am I with, and this guy can be lucky, but
exactly.
it's not me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that, and also I actually spoke about this in an earlier video too as well. Also, I think it's a combination of information technology and globalization, because also you have the issue, like even if you just focus on just internally within a country, all the women that were in these rural areas, in these villages or whatever, they're all migrating to the cities. And so now you have to compete
Mhm.
with guys within the cities, right? And there's guys coming internationally, there's international students, international businessmen, coming into these major cities, and they're all migrating. These areas are getting very, very congested, right? And then if you look at it on a global scale, on a macro scale, women are getting hit up, getting flown out to Dubai, to France, to wherever, to all these different locations. They're getting hit up by football players and stuff. That's
Yeah.
actually a good segue to talk a little bit. But before, did you have anything to add before? Because
Ah,
I wanted to.
just
Yeah,
going with it. Just
yeah,
going, kind of going with the flow. What you said on girls getting invited to Dubai and the Middle East, man. I've heard some crazy stories, man. About, man, them getting paid to go there, and then they're
yeah,
they're basically slaves, like sex slaves. And
yeah.
it's crazy, man. I don't see how women can do that. But they need they need, right, they need the money to be able to have that lifestyle, which they want to do, to impress people that don't really give a shit about them, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's the wrong thing to do, but yeah, it's crazy
But
that
also, there's a lot of simps too, man. They just throw money at women. This is the thing, man. Just because you're a millionaire doesn't mean that you're an alpha dog. You know, just because you have a lot of
yeah.
money. Because a lot of them, bro, a lot of them, they throw so much money. Like I've never had to throw money at women to acquire a woman. Like it was never. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah.
understand like why they leverage. I mean, I guess you got to use what you have, right? If you don't have really good communication skills, if you don't have frame, if you don't, have a good aesthetic, if you don't take care of yourself, you're not great style, great charisma, and you just are a millionaire. I mean, and I guess you got to use what you have, right? I guess life is about leverage, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's well, if you it's difficult to explain, but yeah, I see, yeah, a lot of simping going on, and this makes everything worse. And but these are the wrong women to begin with in the first place. That's why if I was to choose a woman, I would try to choose a woman from a village or from a probably from a third world country. Where there's still real woman.
Yeah.
That traditional woman.
Yeah.
And not these women today that want everything shoved up their ass, and and just want more and more and more, and just
Yeah. Yeah.
never they it's just like addiction, dopamine. They can never get satisfied, and you'll buy them a bag, Louis Vuitton, whatever, and
Hmm.
they'll be happy for it, about it for like maybe a day, but then there is what's next, and that's why when it's like a when you call it maybe a death spiral,
Hmm. Yeah.
it's just it's it's fake happiness. It's not real happiness. And if
Hmm.
happiness is based on materialism, you're never going to find happiness because materialism, money's endless. So
Facts. Yeah.
so
What do you think about because I think a lot of girls is a misconception. Like a lot of girls, they don't get the difference between a guy wanting you sexually versus a guy wanting you for a relationship. And this is a huge, huge problem. I think girls don't really understand the mindset of men. They don't really get it.
they want providers. That's all they care
Yeah.
about. They want providers. They want a wealthy man. They don't want to work. And
Hmm.
uh and sex. I think they're having sex with these men,
Yeah.
like just meaningless sex. And
Yeah.
it's not real. It's not real. So
Yeah.
um,
That's an issue too, because if you look at, for instance, like when the girls get DM'd by these dudes, and yeah, man, it's quite funny because they get DM'd by these blue check guys, these what would be considered as a high value person or high
yeah,
value man,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, they confuse that sexual uh, attention with a guy actually wanting to date you for a long term relationship, and I think there's a huge issue in regards to understanding the discrepancy between the two. If I had a daughter, I would train her to understand, hey, guys want to have sex with you as soon as you turn 13. As soon as like it's just how it is. Your value
Mhm.
is just given to you kind of as a because you're what the marketplace, right? The sexual dating marketplace decides is valuable. Like what men decide for them is valuable when they see a woman is her
Mhm.
beauty, her
Mhm.
fertility,
Mhm.
her nurturing nature, her healing energy, right? This is what men find attractive in women.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah. It's
The
nature.
inexperience. The inexperience. We like the inexperience. While women like experienced guys, you know?
Well, well, let's be honest. It's nature. Men want to have sex with good-looking women, attractive women, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's why men are. It's polygamy is natural, right? Because men's supposed to spread their seed, right?
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
don't. Sex doesn't have nothing to do with intellect, really, right? It's just sex.
Yeah.
Even though it's sex is hell to have sex with an intellect woman, just the connections there is just awesome. But most of these women, yeah, it's they're how can you say it? They're not
Be
easy to
careful what
find.
you
Huh?
Yeah. No, I just
Or
said be careful. Yeah.
yeah. It's so I got to really think. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're already taken. They're most likely already taken,
Yeah.
or they're very complicated.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they think the all the men are the same, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, women are made for monogamy, right? That's why they choose one man, and men are look at the Arabs, right? They have multiple women,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
you're right.
so it's interesting. um I don't think it's ever going to work in Europe or non-Arab countries, because it's just, if you have multiple women, you're cheating, right? It's never going to be
Yeah.
accepted. But yeah, it's definitely, men are, it's uh they when men are horny, they view women as objects, right? um
Yeah.
that's just how it is.
Exactly.
It's nothing personal. It's just nature. And I'm not trying to put women down, but that's just how nature works, and it's good nature works that way, because if men wouldn't think like this, they wouldn't reproduce as much. So nature wants to reproduce and offspring, and just so that's how nature works. So and Women that's why I can understand men that start cheating when they don't get the sexual satisfaction that they need from women, and it's hard to well it's hard to control yourself. I mean, it's I don't want to say it's easy to control yourself, but it's hard to continue on doing it for an extended time, and not getting the sex that you need, and not need, but you know what I mean, the because it's
Yeah.
nice. Sex is only a small. It's not that important in a relationship. It's only a small part in a relationship. You can put it that way, but it's so important that relationships will fail if the sex is not working, right?
Yes,
So
of course.
that's why sex has its place, and it's yeah, women I think it really takes woke people to understand what sex is, what love is, if love even exists, because love at the beginning is just emotions, right? It's just
Hmm.
emotions, and that's why
Yeah.
love fades after time, right? and
Yeah.
then and then you have that kind of connection, or the being used to each other, and then separating more feels like losing your best friend. I mean, for example, look at like these reality TV shows, right?
Yeah.
People live with each other every day, and then they get so used to each other that when the show ends, they miss each other, you know. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's like the same thing being with a woman and spending so much time with her. When you separate, it's not the love; it's just being used to each other that goes
You
away.
missed.
I've
Mhm.
experienced that playing, football. That when the season's over, I miss my teammates.
Yeah. Yeah.
And love, yeah, love is a difficult subject. It's I think you can, yeah, like I said, that feeling that you have for someone with the butterflies, that all fades, and then even the, I mean, if you look at it, if you, I've had some really attractive women. I don't go for that anymore because the attraction fades. It's like, I swear, after maybe it comes faster and faster and faster, where the attraction fades. It used to be maybe a year or so. Now it's like months, where
Yeah.
you see a person so often, you don't see the attractiveness in her anymore. You get used to the
Yeah.
face, and then it takes like two, probably like, it takes some separating. That's why I like to travel, and I like to have some time off, from whichever girls that I'm with, because seeing each other after like a few weeks, or being busy a lot and then not spending every day with each other, you appreciate them more. You see them again.
Yeah. Would you say that men fall in love or men choose who they love?
Wow. Huh. I think. Well, I'm going to speak for myself. I've
Yeah.
seen women where there was like love at first sight. They were just so pretty, and it was just like these butterflies were there. So I definitely fell in love.
Yeah.
And this happens if I, for example, if I'm in a big city and I see a lot of women. You see a lot of good looking women, and there's always a few amongst them where I'm like, wow, she's beautiful, and I would love to get to know her better, and you feel something, right?
Yeah.
But I'm very aware of my surroundings, so I see everything. So yeah, for me it was definitely falling in love, and not so much sex at all. Not at all. uh, sex is just something that you get when your libido, right? When you're horny, your libido's there, and you. But I was never the guy who went into a like in Germany have these whorehouses, right? They call it.
Yeah.
I was never the guy who went in there because I just much more enjoyed sex with a woman that I dated and got to know a little bit closer. You know,
Mhm. Yeah.
uh,
And for guys who don't know about these whorehouses, just so we can clarify, they're completely legal.
yeah,
Because our audience is, there's a lot of U.S. Audience too as well. So they're completely legal whorehouses. I think it's called like the red light district, right?
yeah, yeah,
And
like
yeah,
yeah,
you'll see these whorehouses all around Germany, completely legal, and you pay
yeah,
some money, and these girls and these people they get taxed. they pay tax.
Yeah.
The girls get cleaned. They do like, I guess, like testing, right, for STDs and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, you go in
Only
there and
condoms,
then
only with
yeah,
condoms, and
exactly.
it's very good that these exist, because if these would exist in the U.S., there would be a lot less cases for raping, and also a lot less female women, female police officers dressing up as prostitutes, and it's unbelievable. I've seen it. I've seen it on TV where these female police officers would dress up as prostitutes. They would approach men in cars, push them to sex, and then the guy's like, okay, cool, and then fuck, they're fucked, right? So
Yeah,
many guys weren't even looking for sex, and it's just fucked the way you're doing it. So I think it's a good thing that they have this in Germany, because men, I guess some men need more sex than others, and that's a way for them to relieve themselves, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, it's quite interesting. That is a huge issue, man, in the U.S., man, with those cases.
yeah,
And yeah, that is a really good solution to that. But yeah, back to love, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so ultimately, you would say for you personally, you fall in love or you choose who you love.
Okay, yeah, right, right. Choose who I love. No, I don't choose who I love. Uh, is it even possible? I think guys that choose who they love, there's something attached, something, not some profit, but some advantages, right, attached to it, right? Like choosing to love a woman for sex, or for a beautiful body, or for her job, for her finances. Um, nah, I don't choose. I can't choose who I love.
Yeah.
There have been girls that I didn't love at the beginning, but they were cool, and there was a little bit something there, and then it developed into something,
Hmm.
and it developed into the love developed, and that's what I've noticed, that the woman that I found really attractive, this fades, and then it all depends on if we're able to grow together and build, and then develop into like a real deep love and connection.
Yeah.
And
No.
and
Yeah.
those are the women that I end up staying with, for
Yeah.
for longer periods. The women that this doesn't happen with, and you just feel there's no connection, there's like an emptiness, and it doesn't last. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, yeah, I totally agree with you, man. And do you think, because you see it a lot of times in the internet and in the media and stuff, and just girls in general, where they're trying to dictate their value? Like, I've never been the type to understand this, because for me, I always felt that the market dictates your value, right? I mean, you can feel as a human that you as a human are valuable, right? But what society thinks about you is something completely different, right? And so, if in a sexual dating marketplace, the men determine a woman's value, right? And vice versa, the women determine a man's value, right? Because it's a
mhm,
marketplace at the end of the
yeah,
day. So, based off of what attributes that women are looking for, it makes you more valuable within the sexual dating marketplace. Would you agree?
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But it depends on which groups we're talking about here, right? Like with
Yeah.
intellectual people, I see none of that matters. They date
Yeah.
for intellect, consciousness, for connection. They're attracted to smart people, and I'm attracted to smart women.
Yes.
Um, this is so sexy, and if they look, if because I need someone who I can be able to talk with, and
Yeah.
not just some sugar babe, right?
Yeah.
Gold digger, that I'm just providing for, and they just I, like in Dubai and Mallorca. I know so many guys that are with these type of women, and
Yeah.
I mean they're so busy. It's basically, for me, it's basically like a prostitute, but a different kind of prostitute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's the same thing. They're
Yeah.
getting paid in form of expensive bags, accessories, and if that wouldn't be there, they wouldn't be with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it depends on what kind of groups you're looking at. But generally, if you look at the social media group, the men are defined by their worth, by their financial, right?
Yeah.
Finances. Women are in their looks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these dating apps and all that, where you just swipe left or right. Come on,
Hmm.
it's-
Yeah. Do you think you can self-proclaim your value? Like I can say like, hey, I'm a 10. Like, do you think I can self-proclaim that? Or do you think that I don't want to quantify obviously the metrics in terms of sexual dating marketplace, but I just see sometimes where girls are like, yeah, I'm a 10, and it's like on what
okay.
pretext? You know what I mean? Like who decides that? How is that? There has to be some kind of supply and demand going on, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
what makes you valuable? How do you
Okay,
determine
I
that?
mean, let's be honest. A really attractive woman is a 10. Come on, if now the intellect and that comes with it, it's going to be
Yeah.
like above a 10. But what a woman needs, I don't want to say need, but an attractive woman, that's beautiful. Every man will look at an attractive woman. Come on, that's how it is. And it's beautiful. Which man doesn't like an extremely attractive woman?
Yeah.
With men, men they have to, they have to portray something else. They have to portray protection, strength, security, confidence. Those things are attractive to men. And
Hmm.
this is something that doesn't have to do anything with the looks. It has to do with the energy with the what they when you look
Project.
at a man, you can feel right away if he's confident or not.
Yeah.
Right away.
Absolutely.
So this is something that I see that women are very attracted to, and confident men. Not so much the looks. Okay, there's like a minimum of looks that has to come with it. No woman really likes a short man. And I
Yeah.
know short men, short businessmen, they have it extremely hard. Guys like below 5'3", they have extremely hard. Even though they have money, they end up only being with a woman from the east, poor woman from the east. So don't tell
Yeah.
me that's love. That's just based on.
Got to get it how you live, right?
Say again?
Got to get it how you live, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
everybody,
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
gotta do what you gotta do. No, but it's interesting let's stay on this topic of value because, for instance, when you look at, Web3, this is the space that I love a lot, and
Yeah.
a lot of people, man, when I talk to, I used to have friends in the past, not my friends anymore. When I tried to explain it to them, the concept of value and transfer, and they didn't really get it, and I'm like, dude, like, don't you get it? 'Cause the thing is, you can't get it if you're only looking in a small box, right? So when you're looking at from it from a macro perspective and you're looking at what's going out in these lesser developed areas,
Mhm,
where there's a lot of currency instability and you have
mhm.
hyperinflation and all these types of things, then you start to understand the bigger landscape of like of Bitcoin, right? And this is why, like, I understood it. Like it all made sense to me because I studied before I got into the market, and
Say
it
again.
didn't.
Say again.
I studied a lot before I got into the
Mhm.
market. Back in late 2020, right? And but before that, I was studying. But I got in the market late 2020. But that whole 2020, I was just studying, understanding, reading, and just dissecting everything. And I realized that this is like inevitable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of
It's
course.
it's
Of course.
it's crazy. How do people not see it? It's crazy. It's almost like how you said, like how people just don't see things, And when you
Yeah.
start,
It's people that are scared. People that are ignorant. People that want to live in their secure world. Their comfort zone. You know. Mostly, I don't want to say. No, I'm not going to say it.
yeah,
I don't want to talk about nutrition now.
yeah,
But yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't. I do understand why people can't see it because they're just not. They just don't have that level of consciousness or woke. And you know, as you see, everyone that I meet who's in the crypto, they're woke. To a certain extent, they're different people. They're yeah. And I'm not talking about the people that are on all these shit coins, these meme coins. That's not crypto.
yeah,
That's casino.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
that's casino.
Yeah,
Real crypto. That's yeah.
yeah,
Like you said,
yeah.
centralized finance, decentralized finance, Web3, layer ones, that layer twos.
A lot of
So
people, they're not the problem is too the lack of education, right? That's why I started this
yeah,
consulting firm because there's such a lack of education because people, yeah, I understand, like, yeah, you want to make money, but there's a huge learning gap, right? That you need to understand these things, because if you don't, then you become an FTX victim, right?
Exactly.
You know.
But still,
So
look. I don't want to. I understand the people that lack the education, but how did we learn?
by wanting to learn,
Exactly. We did it
but
ourselves.
yeah, we did ourselves.
We said, "Fuck this.
Yeah,
We're going to find out what this is about." And
facts.
we sat our asses down, had our fucking heads in and on any kind of information we could get until we had enough information to have the level of information that we felt that we needed for us. Like you're a
Exactly.
lot more into crypto than I am, and I'm extremely interested in crypto, but I'm not able I don't just focus on crypto. I focus on nutrition. I focus on hormone optimization. I focus on I don't want to call it
You're
conspiracy
diversified.
theories,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I don't have enough time to put everything into crypto,
Yeah.
and I'm just a very diversified person into any knowledge. So I have knowledge, and I have a little knowledge on many things. I want to call
Yeah.
it that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Jack of all trades is what they call it.
yeah. But
Yeah.
the very first thing that I felt, which was very important to learn in crypto, was security. Because I had said, if I'm going to get into this, I'm not going to get fucking hacked. So I don't get it why people burn automatically, not automatically, but accidentally burn their tokens by sending coins to a wrong blockchain, to wrong wallet, right? So
Yeah.
security is first, and then you can look into all the different categories in crypto, and focus on one that you think you like best, right? Because there's so many sectors in crypto. If you dig like right, if you dig like 100 holes, you'll never find water. But if you dig like one or maybe two holes, you'll eventually find water. So it's good to focus on one sector, or maybe two or three sectors which you're capable of, right? Which
Yeah.
your brain
Yeah.
capabilities are capable of. Yeah.
Yeah. What I have the luxury of is I have a network, like I have an actual research team, like basically like a group chat, right?
Yeah.
And they fill in those holes, right? Those
Okay.
vertical holes for me, because there's so many different verticals within crypto. You have NFTs, you
Right.
have layer twos, you have your layer one smart contracts, you have gaming, you have artificial intelligence, you have data storage. There's so much, like there's so many different verticals within crypto, and then you have your rebase tokens. So it's impossible to know everything, right? So if you don't
Yeah.
have like a
Yeah.
network, I suggest you acquire one, right? Like I text Barry even all the time. Like I'll hit you up like, hey, these are coins I'm looking at. This is my thesis behind it, right? People don't even have thesis. They just don't even think. They just come to me and ask me what coins to buy. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to tell you what coins to buy. Like I'm not some kind of, I'm not, who's that? Nostradamus or whatever. The guy who was predicting the future and whatnot. I'm not Nostradamus, I can't predict
Exactly.
it.
Plus, I stopped telling people what coins to buy as well. I don't want to give advice and say not a financial advice. Come on, every advice that you give is financial advice. So but yeah, whenever I'm given a coin, I'll dissect it. I'll do my research. Uh, absolutely. And until I feel confident enough to. But if I get information from you, right, someone I
Yeah.
trust, I know I can do less research, right?
Yeah.
So but yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
geez,
Yeah.
that's
It's crazy too. Like when the whole FTX thing happened, like my dad knew, but I didn't know it was that big. Because I don't pay attention to mainstream media. I don't really watch like news and all that stuff with mainstream, right? I go
yeah.
to reputable people that I think are reputable, and I listen to them. Because I think the world is information is becoming decentralized, right? Where you have these platforms like YouTube, Twitter, and all these different types of things, because a lot of people are trusting the mass media less because of the type of content that they're programming you to look at is it's been proven to be wrong a lot of times than not, right? Like the I don't want to call it, I gotta be careful what I say here, but the sickness that we had these past few years, so but it's quite crazy. Like for instance with the whole FTX thing, when my dad hit me up and he was telling me like, oh, what happened? You know, like, is it the end of crypto? You know? And I was like, and I was telling like, first of all, FTX is a Web2 company, right? They're just a brokerage. They're just a broker, right? People don't understand the complexities. So when you onboard your fiat, your cash into a platform, well, it's effectively a private company, right? And they're holding your cash and they're telling you those digits on your screen, you can always redeem them back into your bank account, right? But you don't effectively know if that's true or not. That's the beauty about crypto, is it's transparent. You can go look it up on the blockchain and see the actual wallet address and to see if these Web2 brokerage like Binance and all that stuff, if they were so transparent, why don't they just actually show you the actual public address of the actual where you're storing your coins?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Why don't they do that?
Yeah.
Because they're not. They're actually putting it into actual. When you buy it, this is the thing people don't understand. When you buy a token or a coin, right, on an exchange like a Robinhood or whatever, Robinhood's even worse because you don't even have custody. That's the thing about Robinhood.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have custody. You can't take the coins and move them self custody yourself. You know, so they're not effectively. It's just fake, right? You don't even know if they're paper trading. Right, you don't even know if they actually have the value. You don't even know. They're just showing you the digits that that you have this amount of Dogecoin or whatever you bought. That was stupid, right? But you don't even know if they actually have the actual coin. How do you know that?
Yeah.
You know,
don't you have? Do you already have a crypto channel?
Yeah, I have a business crypto channel too as well. Yeah, I need to start posting more content on there. It's just when you get so busy, with all the stuff that you're trying to do.
Yeah, I think it would be a really good idea just to make a really simple crypto channel, just explaining just the basics. I don't know if you're already doing that because I know you're doing very complex things, but because that's what I find what people really need just to, because people it's not easy to understand and it takes a while to explain, right?
Facts.
Like what you were just talking about. Why keep your money on an exchange? Keep your money in your private wallet, right? It's not your keys, not your crypto. So the whole point of crypto is taking money away from the centralized banks, from the centralized exchanges, and putting it into your wallet, which is your own bank. You have your own 12-word or 24-word passphrase. Nobody can hack it. Nobody can get only you. It's only your responsibility. If you lose these passwords, it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone forever. So it's you're responsible for the money you have, and nobody can hack that wallet. Yeah. So this is what crypto is made for. Yeah. And now they can trace it with if the blockchain is transparent, so criminals can't really get far with it, right? There are certain ways, but anyway, but transparency is not a problem for taxes, for example, because if you just follow the law for taxes in whatever country that you're residents in, you can either pay taxes or pay lower taxes if you move to a country where they have good crypto taxes, right?
Exactly. So, absolutely, man. Another thing too, people don't understand these emerging markets, man. They're coming really, really quickly. I think crypto will be massively adopted like at the top of the next decade, or the beginning of the next decade, right? So around 2030 to 2035 ish. Because it's going to take a little bit longer because they need to solve a little bit of issues in regards to the onboarding process, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit fuzzy because you got to basically onboard your fiat into a Web2 brokerage company and then move the assets again. So it's a little bit extra steps that you got to take. When it becomes very, very simple to do it, and it's not so deep rooted and intricate to understanding all these different barriers and stuff, then I think it will get massively adopted. So I think it's going to take longer. What industry I think is going to happen really, really quick is going to hit like a meteor, which is already starting now, is artificial intelligence, bro.
Yeah. I know you're going to say that. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I agree 100%.
Man, bro, artificial, like I've been digesting a lot of content recently from Iman Mustik. He's like the founder of Stable Diffusion, right? And it's this platform that you can go and generate images, right? I don't know if you've seen some images online and stuff of like really attractive women that people have like been trolling online, but they're actually just AI generated images.
Wow.
Man, bro, I didn't know. Like people,
really, one of my friends, completely AI.
Completely AI. One of my friends sent me pictures and he was like, what do you think about these girls? And I was like, oh yeah, they look attractive, whatever. And then he told me like, yo, this is all completely artificial intelligence. They look, just imagine, bro, this is just the beginning, right? So, bro, I'm thinking in my head so many different things that can be done, right? Because when you're looking at it, and when it's generating completely new and original forms of content, then that means it has the capabilities of dreaming. And for me, it's so interesting and fascinating because if it has the ability to dream, then that means it has the ability to create new forms of content and new forms of solutions that we've never seen before, right?
Yeah.
So this is the exciting thing for me. So I'm thinking huge, like cancer, anti-aging, all these different
Don't
fields.
they got this bed? It's like an AI bed where you can, it supposedly already exists. It wasn't a movie also. You lay in it and it's robots and they perform any kind of operations stuff to get all the cancer, whatever you have in your body out. What are these bots called? These healing bots or bots or I don't know.
Yeah, some robot type things. But I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen that sometime in the past. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. And the thing is, with the people don't understand the intellect of the machine learning. It compounds, right? And so that's the fascinating thing for me as a person, because I'm like, yo, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16.
Yeah.
Like it compounds. Like every second, it's learning, and it's compounding that intellect, and also has the ability to make new theses that have never been thought of before, right? Based off of the data that it's collected. So we live in the data analytics era, right? So we have mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains of data, and so it's able to consolidate that data and then come up with new theses based off the backlog of data that we have since the beginning of humankind. And man, for me, this entire infrastructure is going to come really quickly, because that's the thing. Google tried to release their the Bard or whatever, and it failed. And then the stock price went down. It was a complete shit show, right? And for me, I see it as whoever was first wins, right? Because when you're first, as I just told you, the intellect compounds. So it's if you release an AI product and you're the first person, and then someone releases it the next day or a week later, they lost.
It's like Bitcoin. It's like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
First one. Yeah.
Because you're not gonna get as much gains, right, as you would as the person who got there, first in the beginning, when it was a cent or 2 cents or whatever, But you could still win. And I believe in a competition. Competition is always good, because you need other AI models and stuff like that. But there's close source AI models already being made in China and Russia and stuff like that. I don't know if you knew, but it's quite crazy, because the one that Stable Diffusion is building is open source, which is amazing, because you can build sort of like a layer 1 and then like build on top of it. I don't want to get too techy, guys. I hope I didn't lose you guys, but yeah, we'll have like a full AI. I want to do like a full AI podcast, but I'm gonna bring other guys on too as well to talk, because it's completely crazy, man. What you can do, you can build entire. Man, you can literally copy other people's voices. And me and you, for instance, we no longer have to do podcasts, right? So we literally just tell them like, hey, make the podcast like with Barry's voice and Vandross's voice, and talk about this narrative. Done. Finish.
Yeah. It's scary. It's scary.
Yeah. And people won't know. They won't know unless they get the visual. Obviously, they need to. There's going to be, I think, a wave of original user-generated content verification, right? Because you're going to need to diversify between, okay, is this AI software that made this, or is this a real individual that made it? And maybe if the person's individually making it, he may have more leverage because he's actually unique creativity as opposed to AI generated creativity. So it's going to be interesting to see what people are going to start valuing more between the AI and the but yeah, man, I find it so interesting. I don't mean to go on and on and on about it. I just want to talk a little bit about it.
It's exciting, and we're very fortunate to be able to still witness, what's going to happen, because these next 10, 20 years is going to be probably the biggest transition ever experienced. And that's why it's I mean, this AI is gonna replace so many human jobs with AI, computers, robots. That's why it's so important to understand crypto, because crypto means freedom, right? Because there's guys in the Philippines, right, playing this what's called Axie Infinity, playing these games.
Yeah.
Earning money, $2,000 a month. Where before they were earning like, I don't know, like $50, $30 a month, right?
Yeah.
So playing these online games, earn the play, right? And then these, yeah. So
I
it's
have a lot of theses about that too, about the metaverse and all this. But
yeah,
actually, I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, guys, where have you? We've been in a metaverse. You know, it's just a 2D version, right? When you go on
yeah,
your phone and you open up Instagram, you're entering a world. Yeah, it's just 2D. You know, and
yeah,
then you're on that world for
yeah,
3-4 hours at a time. You enter YouTube, you enter Twitter. These are already verses, right?
yeah,
We're
yeah,
already, it's just now taking the 2D element and moving it into 3D,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun being in the metaverse. Even though I don't want to, there's a bad side to it because people are going to be even more stuck on their computers, their phones, or in their virtual reality, headsets. Like the movie Ready Player One. You're going to be living in this world, having fake characters, fake personalities.
Yeah.
People are only going to be in this, right? So I hope it's not going in this direction in a negative way. I hope it's going to be positive, and used for fun things as people are playing PlayStation or Xbox today, in
Yeah.
moderation. But it's,
Yeah.
it's always people going to get addicted because it's going to be so fun, and
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Metaverse
Yeah,
is crazy too, because if you think about it, it's infinitely scalable in terms of the amount of people that can participate in it and
yeah,
what it can be achieved, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I look at it like, also, if you look at it from, you can look at it from many different angles, right? You can see it as school can
yeah,
completely change with the metaverse, right?
yeah,
Now, kids in Africa who didn't have access to quality education can get it from some professor in Harvard. They can walk in their metaverse to this school in the metaverse and go attend, these courses or whatever, that people
yeah,
are trying to do, great initiatives to give free knowledge, free information from. And maybe
yeah,
they can do learn to earn models. You can do play to earn models, all these different types of models that you
yeah,
can use so they can leverage to actually make money when they're in the
yeah,
metaverse, getting digital land, and then
yeah,
you can showcase to sponsors and companies, hey, I have this piece of digital land that, let's say I'm getting 1 million people of traffic going back and forth in this digital land to get to school or get to this business, this digital e-commerce business. Hey,
yeah,
so you can leverage this land to showcase your whatever it is that you want to showcase, right? And then you pay
yeah,
me rent for this digital piece of land. There's a lot of different models, man. It's quite
yeah,
fascinating. And I think VR, AR, artificial intelligence, blockchain, they're all going to tie in, and they're all going to move all kind of cohesively in this sort of snowball effect. Some will move
yeah,
faster than others, but it's going to be insane. It's going to
yeah.
be insane, bro. You
Yeah, and,
know?
and what I really enjoyed is just from all of the videos that I've seen from, for example, BlockFi Sandbox. What was the other one? Star Atlas, and you can live in this metaverse, have a job, and people will pay you to do things that they need done, and bounty
Exactly.
hunters or repairing stuff or whatever,
Yes.
and then it's just so exciting, yeah. So it's really
Yeah.
important to, yeah, it's freedom.
What what do you think? Like, because a lot of people, when they lose their jobs, obviously there's going to be new jobs, right? Because there's trade-offs. It's not win lose. It's okay. This job is lost, so then this job is now gained. So you're going to have to learn how to leverage the technology to be able to be valuable in the marketplace, right? Because the value is going to change of what skilled labor and all these different things is going to be completely different in the future. And yeah, the whole thing is it's crazy, man. Like, because when I was 7-8 years old, I always dreamt about what 2020 and 2030s would look like, and it's
Yeah,
like we're here now, you know,
yeah, 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 yeah,
like
yeah. Man,
like we're actually here.
time flies. Time flies, man. It's crazy. That's why uh, you got to listen to old people when they say, people in their 80s, and they say this thing called life, it just flies by. So be sure to enjoy life. Be more in the now, and don't just focus on things in the future that you want to have, because soon you might not never get them, or soon you're just going to be 30, 40, 50, and then life's going to be over. So
Yeah,
gratitude, appreciate things that you got, and if you don't have much, try to really manifest it, being positive, and so on. I don't want to get into the subject, I didn't really run into the subject because it's a whole nother subject. But yeah, time flies by really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll leave it there, man. We'll leave it there. I think that's pretty good. We just hit our time limit now. So yeah, this concludes the third episode of the Moon Boy Mooncast, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, man. And peace.